4, 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, may I have your attention, please? The show starts
right here, right now.
This is a message to all the haters out there. If you don't like what I do, but you watch everything I'm doing, you're still a fan.
Everybody drunk out on the dance floor. Baby girl ass jiggle like she want more. Like she a groupie and I ain't even know a tour.
Okay. I see how you switched it up right there. I like that.
That was pretty solid. I gotta lie.
Yeah. All right. So, welcome back to another episode of Hog HQ Live, which is brought to you by the Hog Talk Podcast. This is episode 32. And tell a friend that we are back again with another one. This time we got a lot of things to talk about. We got SEC Media Days. We're going to go into our position group discussion, which is the running backs today. And we're going to touch on some ProHogs. Not in that order, but it's going to get talked about. And as you can see, we got a fourth screen today. This is Mr. Jason Patterson. Mr. Jason, can you let the people know where you are from and where they can find you, even if they can't read it on the screen?
So you can follow all of my stuff on hogville.net. You can also follow it on Pig Trail Nation as well. Sorry about that. My mic was a little bit low there. So a podcast on hogville.net on the YouTube channel, also right for Pig Trail Nation and hogville.net as well. So you can find all of our stuff over there. It's all free content as well.
All free content. Thank you so much for being on with us this evening, sir.
Yep.
So we introduced that man. Now this gentleman right here, that's Adam. And this gentleman, where you at?
Oh.
See, you playing with me now. Yeah. This one, yeah. And that's Matt. All right. So everyone is here. Once again, let's go ahead and jump straight into it, guys. Summer sessions. So we're talking about ProHogs, Summer League. Now, I watched a little bit of Khalil Ware this evening. I seen he played a little bit late. He's been really putting up some good numbers, but we're going to talk about guys who were specifically Hogs. Adam, what you got in regards to ProHogs, some of the stats, some of the guys who have been making some noise in the summer season?
It's been a bit quiet, which it kind of typically is for some of these guys. I say that, and then I'm going to go follow this up and say Ricky Council dropped 20 again a night or two ago. Like I said previously, there's no point in him being in the summer league at this point. Not really sure why he still is, but you know, it is what it is. Jordan Walsh had 12 points, I believe, on Friday night. That may have been Saturday. Kamani Johnson finally got into a game for the Knicks. I think he had 2 points. Anthony Black had 4 points a couple of nights ago and then didn't play their last game. So those guys that are in the rotation to some capacity on the main rosters, it's kind of that point that they're dropping down to not playing, not dressing. Really giving the guys that are trying to make the G League or make a roster, it's kind of their time to shine, if you will. So that's what kind of worries me about Kamani, only getting in for, I think, 3 or 4 minutes. Unfortunately, it's the way things go with the summer league sometimes. So see what happens for the rest of the time.
Yeah. And I also looked at some of the things that have been going on with the summer league. The number one pick for the Atlanta Hawks, the dude hasn't played in the last 3 games. So I don't know what that's about, but I'm just looking like, we got to sell tickets at the end of the day. So if they can't see the guy play in summer league, when will he play? And like I said, if Trey will even adapt to him. So this is my take on it from the Atlanta perspective. All right, Matt, you got anything on summer league?
No, it's pretty much the way I view it is kind of like the way they do the NFL. And, you know, you had the first week or so where the starters will get maybe a drive or something like that. Then the next week 2 of the preseason, they'll play more of a quarter. Then maybe a half in the third game. And then the fourth game, and some teams play fifth game, they don't even hardly play at all because you want to get all the other players a chance to really show out before they start trimming down the rosters. And I would say it's virtually the same type of mindset with the NBA.
Yeah. Jason, you got anything on it?
No, not on that topic now.
Okay, cool. This is what's interesting to me once I watch these guys play. There's so many turnovers in these games. There's so many mental mistakes I watch when I watch these guys play. which makes me have a whole different respect for NBA starters. And like that's elite level competition when you look at the NBA, regardless, even the sorriest team. Like I remember sometimes at one point in football they talked about, the Miami Hurricanes or Ohio State could beat the Cleveland Browns at one point. But I'm looking like that's still a professional player at the end of the day, and they have a different set of skills that most guys can't do. And I've even watched guys who are great in college, who end up in the summer league and they just fumbling the ball. They turn it over every single minute, and it's just really hard to watch for the most part unless it's somebody you're watching in particular.
Well, and most people too, like fan wise, they're all they look at is stats, mainly points. And I know like something was brought up about was he the number 2, number 3 pick, SAR, SAR,
Yeah,
another
number two.
It's like, oh, he was like 1 for 21 in his last X amount of games, and everybody wants to hate on it. And it's like, you're not talking about the 22 rebounds or the 15 blocks or the assists.
No, you guys are good. I'm just
Yeah,
having to
you
turn the
good.
light on real quick.
But people just automatically look at that stat line, that point line, and think that that's like the telltale, and it's like y'all aren't looking at anything else.
Yeah.
So it's one of those things, especially when you're that high of a draft pick or you're named Bronny, that everybody's going to pick apart every little thing that they do.
Right. Now I know it's not summer league conversation, but did anybody watch anything or even see a highlight from the WNBA All Star Weekend?
No.
No. I figured. Look. The young lady, Alicia Gray from the Atlanta Dream, she won the 3-point competition and the skills competition. I looked at the money that they got, and I was just looking like, that's it? Like, it's nowhere close to the men's games and the money.
Well, and one good thing, though, coming soon to the WNBA is their new media rights deal.
That's
Right.
really, that was a real big bump for them.
Yeah, I think they're going to be going up to over $1 billion or around $1 billion with their media rights deal spread over, 5 years or whatever it is. But it gets them on more platforms than they're currently on, and it's a hell of a lot more money than they've been getting.
Absolutely.
So say what you want to say, the progression of women's basketball and the fans interacting with it, fact of the matter is there's 2 players, whether you like them or not, that are behind that. So even if you're an old WNBA veteran, old WNBA fan, fact of the matter is it's because of Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese.
Absolutely. And Caitlin I think she had 4 points, but she had like 11 assists. And then Angel Reese had a double-double. Only rookie to ever have a double-double in the All-Star game. I'm just looking like it's so much history being made in the league. So even if you're not a fan of the sport, I'm just going to be clear from a male perspective who really doesn't watch women's basketball. It's a much these girls are much cuter than the ones we've seen before. And let's be clear, I'm just being a man. I'm sorry, but when you look at it from a college standpoint, when these ladies were in college, a lot of their NIL was based upon their Instagram likes and followers, just because of how they look. You know what I'm saying? So it's right, yeah. So it's to their benefit. Chelsea Dungey ended up getting on that move before she left when she left Arkansas. So her Instagram was blowing up just based on her looks and people seeing her outside of basketball attire.
Hey, you know what? Props to her for being in that movie with Nick Cannon and not getting pregnant.
Should have gotten paid.
Petty. Moving on. So we're going to jump straight to some football, guys. So we have 39 days. 39 days is getting closer and closer. SEC Media Day is always an opportunity to bring back that nostalgia of football is almost back. With the realignment, adding Texas and OU, the SEC has been getting a lot of spotlight. We already know the SEC is the cream of the crop in regards to sports, specifically football, and basketball has definitely came on in that aspect. And baseball still holds their own. And we know Arkansas track and field is the best. This is the track capital of the world, and this is what it is. Brad Stanton, guess who's back? Back again. Shout out to Brad watching us on YouTube. Thank you, Brad. So 39 days till we start the season. SEC Media Days. We had a lot of information that went on during SEC Media Days. I wasn't blown away by what we saw. Last week we talked about new coaches coming on board, who may have the hot topics, etc. But this one was and I also think Nick Saban not being there. They had a lot to do with a lot of conversations from different coaches and what they had to say. A lot of people gave props to Coach Saban and what he meant to the game and to the league. So I think there was a lot of conversation that was being had. Adam, I think you got some video for us to watch before we jump into it.
Yeah, we'll go to the 39-day countdown that we post daily. Here we go.
Jefferson, end zone for the win. Touchdown, Hogs. Arkansas finds a way in the swamp. Tyrone Broden, the hero.
Man, that was a hell of a time. I was in the fourth row in the end zone watching that game, so that was a hell of a game. I would love to see more touchdowns from number 17 and Broden this year coming up. So I'm excited about what could be. And you also seen our old running back coach jumping up on KJ Jefferson. So those two people that were currently on previously on the staff who are no longer on the staff or the roster. Jason, what did you have in regards to media days? What takes you saw some things that were very interesting to you or intrigue you in regards to Arkansas or anyone else?
So, here's the thing. We all knew going into this that Sam was on the hot seat. We knew that Sam was going to be getting questions on being on the hot seat. Now, in Sam Pittman form and fashion, he handled him pretty stinking well. I mean, he could have been that guy that was, this is really eating at me. Get off my lawn. I'm just going to snap back at you, give you kind of a Nick Saban type, response. But, he placated it a little bit. He leaned into it, and he was more himself than that I saw this year than really kind of the last 2 years, because I don't want to say that the stress is not on him, but to perform, because we all know it is. But I felt like when he was up there, he was more relaxed than he has been probably in the last 9 months. And one of the reasons why is because he has Bobby Petrino to lean on. He has somebody that he trusts. Last year, he didn't have really anybody that he trusted because, T-Will, Coach Wood, Dan Enos, those are three guys that he had never coached with really before on this level. Now he has a little bit more trust in the defensive side. He has a little bit more trust in the offensive side. And that's where I think that some of the relaxed look that he had when he was up there was where it came from.
Yeah. Definitely agree with that. It was some things that I saw that we'll jump into later that were kind of interested in this conversation. So that's a great take on what you got from Coach Pittman. Matt, you got anything on Coach Pittman or anything that you recognize from SEC Media Day?
I kind of echo what Jason said. He seemed a little more relaxed, a little more kind of, F it. It's my last hurrah. Then I'm going to go out, guns a-blazing, doing how I want to do it. But you touched on a point just then about having Bobby Petrino back. And I think that has also taken some pressure off him, like Jason was saying, because he had that with Barry. And he felt a little bit like a lost dog last year. Didn't know kind of what to do. He even said, "I don't know," and that really upset some people.
I don't think we're going to hear that this year either.
No, I hope not. I hope not. But it just seemed, like he didn't know where to go, what to do. He just felt a little lost last year, and now he's got a little more mentorship experience on the sideline with him, and he's gotten some himself. He's, we hope we've learned from his mistakes.
Yeah.
And so we'll see what comes of it, but he really stressed that he likes this team, which is, he's a pretty honest guy. So I would like that, maybe we do have something that could make a little bit of noise this year.
Yeah. Terrell, we in here. What y'all doing in here? You know what we doing. You know what we do on Sunday nights. Shout out to Fort Smith. Look, so piggybacking off what both of you guys said, a couple things that I took notice to when Pittman got on stage. First of all, I think it was very honorable. I think it was very tasteful. And him giving a story about Monty Kiffin, Lane Kiffin's dad, who recently passed away. You could tell, sidebar, that Lane Kiffin wasn't the usual Lane Kiffin with the jokes and all that. You could tell it was still eating at him about his father. So Shout out to Coach Pittman for being very tasteful and respectful in regards to giving a story about Money Kiffin. Um, that was pretty dope in that aspect. It seems like he also, when Coach Pittman gets started, it's like he's almost rambling. He gets a little nervous, and then once he catches his stride, he's just rolling. He talked about him being on the hot seat. He said he was the guy that was almost on the award list for Coach of the Year, and now he's the guy on the hot seat list. And he said he want to be that other guy. I applaud him for acknowledging that, speaking loud and clear about it, not running from it, not straying from it, and just speaking straight to it. As you said, Matt, he talked about this team is so much different than the other teams. And that was really interesting to me when he said that, for the sense of it made me wonder, and this is just my take, guys. He talked about, man, they spend time with each other, both sides of the ball, outside of the facility. And it made me think about one of the reasons that Taylor Green was named so early in a discussion. It made me think that the quarterback that we had last year didn't show the proper verbal leadership that was needed in order to carry that team.
Yeah.
That's what I got from what he said, a lot of. And it was no shot to KJ. It was just giving props to Taylor and what he's been able to do. And Jackson, those guys coming in and being leaders on the defensive side and the offensive side. And just being, it's so many leaders on this team. That's one word I heard this year that I didn't hear the past previous years. In regards to the offensive line, the improvement of the offensive line. Talking about being Mateo's GA this year, which I definitely love that part about it. I'm glad he finally caught on and recognized he needs to be a part of that process in regards to grooming and growing the offensive line. But Mateo's been doing this thing as far as getting guys on campus to recruit them. So shout out to Mateos and what he's been able to do. I think that was a great hire by Pittman. And other things that I recognize that he did, he was very honest with himself. I didn't get the all shucks. I didn't hear him once say things of that nature.
Every little catch line that he's had over the last 3 years disappeared on Thursday. Disappeared. One of the reasons why also I feel like it was imperative to, and I'm kind of going back on what you just said there just a second ago, DP, is that Bobby knew from the get-go it was extremely important, it was imperative, and it was necessary to name a starter before spring. Or whenever when Taylor got on the at spring, I should say, because that way you're showing that there's a clear direction on who you're pointing the finger at from the get-go, and you have a recognized leader from the start. Not this 2 QB mess that we go into fall camp and 2 weeks before the season starts we finally name a guy. This was a clear-cut, intentional move by Bobby and Sam, for that matter. Now, I know that Bobby's going to get a lot of credit for this, but you have to give Sam credit too, because what he did with the defensive staff last year, he did with the offensive staff this year. But also making sure that if you got a quarterback that you know is going to lead, you have to make that intentional move from the beginning, because like you said, it hasn't been there in the last 2 or 3 years. Now you have that lockstep with the offense that is going to also, I really feel like it's going to with the offensive line.
Yeah. I want to jump into a comment real quick before we jump back into our discussion. Shout out to Logan. Logan, what's happening? Said the calmness looks scary, too scary, in the way that he knows what he has. He's glad they're talking down, and we might be making a run. Shout out to Teresa, Miss Teresa. Glad you're back. We didn't see you last week. I was nervous. You know what I'm saying? We got to have you on here every week. So Mr. Reese said, I think they all deserve a chance before the doom and gloom brigade begins. How about let the kids make their statements, not be judged from last year's debacle. Give them a fair chance to silence people who seem to have already wrote them off. Definitely can dig that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
You know what? The 2 comments that we talked about just now about the quarterbacks. One that I've always been reminded of is if you have 2 quarterbacks, you don't have a quarterback.
No.
Right.
And the other one being that we've pretty much alluded to and talked about for months now, if not almost a year, was that this time around is completely different, the environment, because as soon as Taylor Green walked in, he started doing off-field or whatever – out of practice workouts with the linemen, with the receiver, something that KJ never did. And I think when you have things like that, then you start throwing loads of money to one player who kind of dismisses kind of the rest of the team, not trying to do team building activities like y'all were just talking about. You're going to have a division when you have an offensive line who basically gets a lawyer commercial and a plate of barbecue every week or whatever. That's all they're getting. And you see a guy wearing Louis Vuitton, got 2 brand new cars, and, almost 3/4 of a,
Yeah.
So, you're not gonna fight as hard for that guy if he, got your back. So
Yeah. Definitely got to show love to your people. And if I'm a QB or a running back, I'm definitely showing love to my offensive line because they're the reason I'm successful. If the offensive line doesn't do their part, then I'm not successful in regards to getting rid of the ball, making proper reads, going to my second read, or as a running back being able to find an open hole as you get ready to run the play. So, Adam, I think you got a clip for us in a second. I'm gonna read this comment. So Logan says KJ looked about him last year. Look out. I'm trying to make out what you said. KJ looked about him last year. Yeah, whatever. And when he was frustrated, he never made the progressions. He made 9 and 4 year. Yeah, you could tell last year he had checked out. I definitely agree with that portion of it, saying that he had
Yeah.
checked out. And I think it was I deleted it in my pictures, but I think it was the wasn't the Florida game. I forgot what game it was. But KJ was kind of rolling his eyes, and there was a fan in the crowd, a young lady, who was, what I'm saying, looking at him making the same face back. So it was interesting to see that we think that with Taylor Green being here, not only with his size, his athletic ability, his leadership skills. Everybody understands the much is given, much is required. And part of being a leader in any form, whether it's at your job, whether it's in your family, etc., is taking responsibility and accountability and showing love to other people around you who help make you better. So if that's not going on in your organization, that can definitely roll over and turn to something else. I think I seen Pittman make a clip and speak about jealousy, and I was looking like I don't want to read too much into it, but I was like, I don't know. Justin Nunn watching us on Facebook, he said he didn't do well. He didn't do well. I don't know. Well, who knows? Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? William watching us on Facebook says getting picked 14 should be a slap in the mouth. Houston Nut would make them hear that every day during the off season. I just hope Nut does.
You
Okay.
think that Bobby Petrino's not going to
Pittman.
let
He
those
said
guys
Pittman.
hear that on the offensive side of the ball, or T Will for that matter,
Yeah.
all fall camp? They're going to
Yeah.
hear about it, and they're going to live it this next
Gotcha.
entire 30 days. I promise you.
The last comment by Logan, he said he meant KJ looks selfish. Gotcha. I could definitely understand that. Adam, you got some tapes, and I know you got some clips.
Sure.
Chris Hummer, 24/7 Sports. Just 2 years ago at this event, you're coming off a 9-4 season, and we're one of the most popular coaches in the country. Now,
well, I'm popular now, just the wrong way.
Well, I was gonna say fair or not.
I'm hot.
I was wondering, fair or not, like you are popping up on those lists. How do you think about the way
I'm
narrative?
like start of the list.
How do you think about the way narratives can shift in this sport in such a short amount of time?
Yeah, isn't it crazy? 2 years ago I was keynote speaker at AFCA and was one of the top 6 guys for the Coach of the Year award. Isn't it crazy? So I want to be that guy and not this one that was out there last year. I think we can be. Listen, what's fair is fair. I mean, if you're going to get patted on the back, you're going to get punched in the gut. And what's fair is fair. And to be honest with you, the only one that can really control the hot seat is me and what we do with our football team. And it's never been about me, so I'm really not concerned about it. I'm concerned about the state, the players, and our staff. And we got a good football team. Thanks for the question, though.
Yeah. Adam, go ahead.
I mean, he owned that he's on a hot seat. He owned that he's the only one, I mean, outside of the team, obviously, in the results, but he's the one that makes or breaks that hot seat. It all falls back on him, not an OC, not a DC, he's the one that's, held to the fire. Yeah. So he knows it. He's not beating around the bush. It all comes back to him. So, you could make excuses, but he's never been one to do that. So it's one of those that it was good to hear at the same time. It's kind of hard because we all expect, everybody just to come up there with like coach speak year in and year out. And I'm not saying, going back to like Teresa's, the doom and gloom and the writing them, like I'm not writing off this team. I want this team to succeed. I want to be wrong with my predictions or projections of the season. But I'm not going to do that until I see something on the field. I'm not going to come in here and bash this team week in and week out. That's not what I'm here to do. That's not what I want to do. But I'm, there is some detest. There is some irritation when it comes to the product that we've seen put out in front of us. And so I'm not going to come and, pump, like we all say, pump sunshine and rainbows. I mean, it's just one of those, I'm glad media days is out of the way. So it's kind of in that final stretch to get ready for the season. They've got a lot to do before and during that UAPB game to get ready for Oklahoma State, because you've got to have it figured out before or during that UAPB game before you go to Stillwater.
Yeah. I bet y'all won't hit the like button. Because we got Jason on here today. I bet y'all won't hit the like button. But anyhow, look. So great points that you made there. One of the things that was interesting to me is I think I watched another team speak about their schedule. Or maybe it was Auburn. I think it was Auburn. And it was Coach Freeze. And he said something about their home games and saying, we got a whole month where we're on the road. And I said, oh, it seems like Arkansas thought they was the only one getting screwed on the freaking schedule in regards to home and away games. I mean, now,
our first 5 games are in 5 different venues.
They
don't ever. There's never. And I was looking at last year's schedule. I mean, we went through another 2 to 3, 4 game stretch like that. So I mean, year in. This is why one of the reasons I don't like Little Rock and I don't like Arlington games is play them at home, play them in Fayetteville. Stop neutral site games. It's getting old.
Yeah, and the other side of
Arlington's done.
Yeah.
It's the last year. It's last year for it. And the thing about it is, I felt like if we were winning or they were great competitive games, it wouldn't be as bad. But to watch us go on the road and not be able to play in front of the home crowd when it's a split crowd and then lose the game year after year after year, it definitely gets old. A lot of conversation we also heard this week was about rivalries. It was interesting. They talked to Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri. They also spoke with Coach Sarkisian from Texas and talked about rivalries. That was interesting to me that both of those coaches spoke about playing Arkansas on their schedule as a legit rival. I definitely appreciate that as an Arkansas fan. It definitely was good to hear. They talked about the atmosphere when the Texas played Arkansas and how great it was, and just seeing if they can come back and try to fight harder to get a victory in that game. But I think depending on what we look like up until that point, that may be a great matchup. And I think it's set for 11 a.m.?
It's an 11 a.m. game. And, I think on all accounts, and Texas may feel the same way too, everybody was Texas out at the media days. It was one of those that, and I forget who said the quote. I think it was actually Josh Pate. It was talking about, he doesn't know if this is how the rest of the Big 12 felt when Texas was there. But it's one of those things that if you're not a Texas fan, you get tired of hearing about them.
Absolutely.
And I get we all should have expected it. We've been hearing about Texas as an OU for months upon months coming in, and it finally happened.
2 years now.
Yeah, and it's just like, okay, we get it.
Yeah, we get it. We just don't give a damn. That's just what it is.
Well,
right?
and I've actually got Saban's clip down here somewhere. It's like 20 seconds long, and it's just basically like Texas isn't going to come in and run.
That was a good clip too. That was a good clip.
Yeah. I'll get it. Here we go.
Always the challenge in the SEC. What kind of tickles me is all these people asking these questions about how Texas always ran the conference they win. They're not going to run the SEC. There's a whole lot of arrogant people in a lot of places in the SEC, so they can forget all about that. They'll be a good team and a great program, and Stark will do a great job, but that's not going to be a problem.
Hey man, I love when Saban. I love when Saban get on there talking that talk, man. It's
Yeah.
refreshing to hear. He's a legend. He's respected among everyone in college football. So for him to make that statement speaks volumes about how he feels about the SEC and the competition within it. Just go ahead.
I was going to say, I love the fact that he couldn't get into media days without a pass and then got rejected. That sole thing right there, I wouldn't say it made my day, but it made me chuckle and say, you know what? Somebody did their job almost too good.
Too good.
Almost too
Mhm.
good. Because, I mean, listen, you can go to any Joe Blow off the street, show him a picture of Nick Saban. They're like, well, I may not know exactly who he is, but I know where I can watch him every week. And
Correct.
now you got some security guard that's like, you can't get in here without your pass. I'm like, it's not like me trying to walk through security trying to get into the back. I mean, this is Nick freaking Saban, for God's sakes.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know if that man is going to be employed by Monday, but that's just my take on that. Matt, you had anything to add to what was discussion?
No, not really. No. Adam,
Okay.
didn't you have another video?
Yeah, this one's just talking about kind of this off season where the players are at offensive line, Coach Mateos.
I've got one quick story after the video too as well.
Bet.
This was from asked by Courtney Mims of Pictorial Nation also.
Sam, you mentioned the attitude of the offensive line and how Eric Mateos has helped change that. Have you seen that with some of the other position groups as well? Maybe the whole team, the camaraderie is different?
Yeah, it's different. You know, they hang out together. I mean, I'm talking about both sides. You know, we had an altercation or two in spring ball like you're going to when it gets hot out there. But for the most part, we were very good at practicing against each other. You go in the weight room, they're rooting for each other. You know, jealousy can divide a lot of things, and I don't think that's in there. I think everybody's rooting for each other, and I know culture, and people talk about culture and all that, but this is as good as it was since I've been here. It's a lot of fun to be around the kids. I think the other thing too is you're handling NIL a little bit different, and not just us, but I think the kids are handling it. I think they have a better understanding of NIL and value of this, and this, and what they can control and what they can't control.
Real quick, Jason, before you jump into it, that particular clip, it was so many pieces. I don't know if I was diving too deep into it. That was the part he talked about jealousy. And that's the thing, Matt, you mentioned earlier, that was kind of concerning. Like, so were they jealous because somebody was getting all the NIL money? Then he transitioned to NIL. And he talked about NIL. And I feel like year after year after year, I always say Coach Pittman is a year behind on something. I don't give a damn what it is. Recruiting, getting with the offensive line, just on fourth and one short yards, whatever it is. And he talked about NIL, and it seems like we're getting to the point now where players are coming in, understanding this is what I am in charge of, this is what I can control, this is what I cannot, this is how to put myself in position. So it's not a real grab situation, or I gotta have it because he gotta have it, or if he has it, I won't get it type thing. I think people are coming more understanding of NIL and how it works. And for him to make the statement that this team has been as good as it's been, as far as a unit, camaraderie, chemistry, that was a big statement. And it made me think about the 9-4 season. Go ahead, Jason.
So if you really pay attention to the clip, he unpacks everything that happened last year and why they were the way they were. And I'm going to go one step further on your point, DP, is that the players were also a year behind on how to deal with the NIL as well.
Yep.
Because you saw Lando talk about how he's been going up against Fernando Carmona day in and day out, helping each other. Before he said, I wouldn't talk to the guy across from me. I couldn't give a damn. But now they give a damn. It's because you had a couple of people on each side of the ball that felt like that had conflicting whatevers. And that's where you saw the division. And now you have guys that are coming together. And that's what Sam was kind of alluding to, is that now that those pieces aren't here, now we're able to move together forward. And the camaraderie is there on and off the field like it wasn't there before. So where he was kind of coming from was that he was telling you the story, but you just kind of had to connect the dots a little bit. And I think he did a really good job on expressing that without saying who it was, how it happened, but this is exactly what happened.
Right.
So the quick story I want to go to before we move on is Lane Kiffin was talking to Marty and McGee on, do you believe, Monday, whenever Lane was doing his car wash through the SEC Media Days. And he said, I've really been impressed and really been happy about how everybody's, gave their sentiments to me on expressing, what Monty meant to them. The story that he went over was actually the story that Sam Pittman had gave him. I don't know if you guys have heard this yet, but it's a really good clip. If you guys should go find it too on the internet, it's really good. So essentially, kind of paraphrasing, was when Sam was in high school, which, and a lot of people don't know, I actually played for the same high school football coach that Sam Pittman did.
Okay.
And Sam was in Grove, I was in Rogers. We're way far apart as far as more apart than you think in age. But anyway, I played for Charlie Cooper when he was on the way out. Anyway, so he talked about how Monty came up to his high school and was coming to see a stud player that they were playing against. And they fought their tails off, ended up losing. But Monty came over to their locker room as well and wanted to congratulate them and thank them for how well that they performed. Even though he wasn't there to see any of those guys, he still came to that locker room and gave them a little pep talk afterwards, because he understood what it meant for a defensive coordinator from the University of Arkansas to go to a small school in Grove, Oklahoma, and talk to both sides. And he understood the impact of that. And that was the story that Sam gave to Lane after the fact. And he said, those are the types of stories that I've been getting now for the last few days. And he said, that's what's been so heartfelt for me, is that the outpouring of emotion that people have given to him.
Yeah, yeah. And you think about it, we talk about Lane Kiffin on here a couple times about how he's the biggest troll coach on all of X. But you can see how humble he was. Like I said,
Changed
anyone who has lost a loved one, especially a parent, like, it definitely does something to you, and it brings life into perspective. So I can definitely respect how he was coming and how he was feeling about that. Now, guys, since we signed on with the Hog Talk podcast, we've been looking at sponsors. Matt has been looking at sponsors. I think he may got us one, right? But with that being said, we definitely got a sponsor already on deck. Bet Online is your number one source for all sports betting needs this season. All baseball, golf, soccer, right to all the fights in UFC, MMA, and boxing. Every stat, something just happened. Every stat, every matchup, and every live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head over to our online casino and get in on the online game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slot games. Head to the website today to get into the action. Use promo BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for your 50% off free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet Online, the game starts here. Why are you playing with buttons?
I feel like we're in that French fry game during one of the intermissions, and somebody's gonna win some free Whataburger somewhere.
I don't think Matt even knows. He keeps going off.
I don't know why I keep dropping out. I'm not.
Why? Real quick, let me jump into these comments before you get back, Adam. Kevin Ingram said that we talked about KJ. He said Enos is KJ's problem. You know Ingram. You know Mr. Ingram. You from PB.
School together, I think.
Pine Bluff in the house.
I'm remembering y'all's people.
That's what's up. PB in the house. Zeros. All right. Miss Teresa said Pooh Paul left for a reason. When the line laid down, Pooh felt he had to go. Why should he fight when everyone else had checked out? And even his dad talked about that as well. So I definitely agree with that. And I'm looking forward to watching him, even though it's in the Ole Miss jersey.
And money had something to do with it too.
Doesn't money have everything to do with everything?
A lot.
I don't. Yeah,
but
yeah.
The team quit last year.
They did. I mean, you could watch.
They quit on Mississippi State game. Wasn't it 7-3 or something like that?
It was 10-3.
That was the ultimate laying it down.
Yeah. What you gonna say, Adam?
Oh, I mean, no, I wholeheartedly agree, and that's why we said too with Pittman's hot seat. I think a lot's going to be determined on how they finish games, how they finish the season. No matter what the record is, if you're getting blown out and your team's not trying, they're checked out. I mean, a lot of those signs point to issues in the locker room. So I think a lot of that's going to have to do with how the future progresses with the coaching.
Yeah.
I would
Brad,
even say,
go ahead.
I would even say, honestly, if we lose the Oklahoma State game, watch if things get tough for it to possibly happen again. Because that, if you still have people that went through it before, they might repeat themselves. The history might repeat itself again. But the Oklahoma State is going to be the biggest game on the schedule for us.
And even if that does happen, maybe I'm being the optimistic fan. I think the level of leadership, which you spoke about earlier on both sides of the ball, may encourage guys to keep going. Maybe a new
That is
staff
the
member.
tangible that does happen. Yeah, it does
Right.
extrapolate.
Maybe Mateo's being on the staff or the new running back coach. What, Matt, Adam?
It's not me.
It's one of them. Either way.
I don't know.
Which one? Square 1, 2, 3, or 4? You go.
There you go. Up, down, left, right. Look, Brad said his little jokes didn't seem to go over well. Maybe the season will be better. Who knows? Kevin Ingram, a top 10 coordinator, was not his problem. The offensive line was his problem.
Look,
how about I think both of you guys are right? Go ahead.
I was just going to say that a lot of the state is taking an umbrage until wins start happening, because if not, it'll go downhill, like you said. But whenever I'm going to go back to the Taylor Green thing for just a second, because Bobby Petrino made sure that whenever he recruited Taylor Green, Taylor knew exactly what was in front of him. And Bobby probably went through and asked him probably a certain set of questions to see what type of answers he got, looking at possibly what could happen within the first 3 games of the schedule. That if something does go backwards, what do you do first off to help, curtail it? And if it does happen, how do you rally your guys around you to make sure that the slide doesn't continue to happen and guys let go of the rope?
All right. So we didn't jump so much in the SEC days. We forgot about our position group. Let's go ahead and slide straight into it.
I still got Lane Kiffin's Paul Feinbaum video.
That's the most important one. We got to watch that one.
And then we can go into the running backs. This was just a true telltale of like where Lane is at mentally right now.
Yeah.
And I think it's good to see players, especially, or coaches and players, be able to call out the big members of media when they're wrong, because there's a handful of them that need to get smacked in the mouth from time to time. So we'll just roll it.
I'll steal your line, but I was going through a deep depression over this incorrect guilt that you tried to lay on me, which preceded that move. Had something to do with Southern California.
Oh, yeah. When you got me fired at USC, I got myself fired at USC, but you didn't help.
It's a better story if I got you fired.
You really did. Because it is a true story that the athletic director and the president were on that trip. We were playing that night, and you were on College game day, and you had to make your big splash, and they were watching it, because I know the other person in the room that was watching it with them, and you said what a joke I was, and I'm the Miley Cyrus of college football coaching, and I should be fired, and they looked at each other, and later that night I was fired.
Yeah, by the way.
So, but hey, look what happened. I would have never got to work for Coach Saban. All these other things wouldn't happen, so I appreciate you for helping getting me fired. Thank you.
Look at what you're doing today. You're predicted to go to the playoffs. And look at Miley Cyrus. She's had a nice comeback.
So
too.
you're wrong on that. I mean, you putting me down with that. So really, I don't really know what you're good at. Like you predicted that Coach Saban was done. That didn't happen. You basically said Miley Cyrus stinks, and she's still going.
Yeah. Well, anyway, it's always great.
Yeah.
I mean, you could tell Paul Feinbaum felt awkward. He didn't know what to do.
Hell yeah.
There's not many times in Paul's life that he has felt that awkward, and that was one of them that got caught on live television, which was the best.
Yeah.
But you're messing with the dude that has a platform, that has a microphone, that's going through it with his dad passing, and then everything else. He was just like, you know what? Somebody's getting something.
Yeah, somebody gonna get this work, gonna get this smoke, as they say.
Motherfucker.
Hey, check this. One of the things that, not even to go in too deep about the clip, one of the things that I said about the clip at the very end. Do y'all understand that SEC Media Days first time was in Dallas?
Yeah.
Y'all don't think that had nothing to do with Texas?
Oh, 100% did.
You see what I'm saying?
And
Like
then
it's
it's
all
already
about money.
moving back to Atlanta or whatever.
Yeah, it's
There
going
you
back to
go.
Atlanta. That was part of the agreement, I'm sure, of some way, like a little cherry on top. I'm not saying it's the foundation of it, but I'm sure that was a little cherry on top saying, hey, by the way, when you guys do come on, this is where we're going to have it. Because, I mean, it's the closest you could put between Oklahoma and Texas anyway.
Man, look, it's all about money. It's all about money at the end of the day. So whether we talking NIL, we talking TV rights, whether we talking location is closer and convenient for certain teams, it was what it was. Because it was in what, Birmingham forever?
Yeah.
And Alabama was winning forever, right?
I love when
It
they
just-
asked Pittman, they were like, how was the trip down? And he was just like, I don't know, it was like a 50-minute flight. They were,
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like, I don't care.
Right. Then you had Georgia go back to back, and then it was in Atlanta. So it just makes sense. If you win, hell, it might be in Fayetteville. You just never know. I'm just saying.
They'd put it in Little Rock.
Hell yeah. I ain't
Just
mad at it.
spite.
Just spite, right? All right, so boom, let's get right into
They'd
it.
piss them off and put it in Memphis instead.
Exactly. So
And again,
check
it would be another backhand to the Razorback Nation again. It's exactly
Yeah.
what I would be.
The way I see it, if you Arkansas, you need to recruit wherever the hell it's at. I don't care. Just recruit, right? Because Pippen talked about how the state doesn't produce as many D1 athletes or SEC athletes. And then he said, I come down to Dallas, and hell, it's about 20 to 30 dudes, like 50 dudes. I'm exaggerating the number, whatever it was. But it's just saying you have more options in these areas than you have in your home state, which was interesting. What is y'all big concern going to see? Jonathan, we're going to get into that. Adam, you about to say something before I get into the running back room?
No, I'm good. I'm just looking through the comments.
All right, that's a bet. We're going to get to all these comments because they mean a lot to us. Running back room is our position group for this particular week. Adam is going to drop some graphics on the screen so we can see exactly who's in this running back room, who's going to be able to make some noise, and who are we interested in making
Hang
some
on.
noise. All right.
Let me remove us from here. There we go.
There we go. You're getting good at this. So we got as Coach call him R Dub, we got R Dub coming back. R Dub has really done his thing as far as getting his weight up, getting his weight down, coming back off of injury. We got Jaquinton Jackson transfer from Utah. The big back. We got Emmanuel Crawford
Catch
coming
blocks.
in. Man, look, you're gonna roll that beautiful bean footage in a minute. We got Mr. Crawford on the roster. We got Mr. Hill on the roster. Mr. Fields on the roster. Now I don't know who Cade Fields is, but at 6'1", 215, depending on if you pick up that playbook, that's a nice size for a running back. So I might do some more research on him. Bratchard, I'm sure I'm badgering the name.
Jezreel Baker.
There you go. There you go.
Okay.
Yeah. So 6'1", 217. I do like the size. Then Mr. Reed Jr. Is that not your classmate son? At first, is that not your classmate son that's on the
Hey,
team?
Dino, he's calling you out thinking this is your son. If you're still
Yeah.
watching.
So Dino, right? So I remember when the guy committed, you the one posted in the group to my son. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it was you, but you was like, it's not me. All right. So 5'10" and 210 sophomore. And Braylon Russell, the big back, 6'1", 252, who is a load. Pause. True freshman coming in and is gonna be able to get on the field this year. And make some noise for us, man. Roll some of them clips so we can talk about these running backs, man. So out of these running backs that we are watching on the screen and that were listed, who are you looking forward to really make some noise this year? Who's going to do their thing?
Well, I will just say, everybody, like a big gripe that I have, and the reason I'm thinking about this is because Dominion changed from 7 to 6 a year last season. NCAA or EA College Football 25, correct your numbers because number 16 and it's number 6 now. So do whatever roster update. I think you still had Augustive on Arkansas's roster also, but you had it on Colorado too. Fix your shit. Anyway, the three that I put in this video, I think are going to be the three guys. You got Dominion, you got Jackson, and you've got Russell. I think that there's no getting away from what Braylon Russell is going to be and what he is. He's a big, bruising, fast back. And if you look at it, I mean, he's the biggest running back that we've got. I was looking when I was making that graphic, and I'm looking at these guys' size, and I'm just like, damn, we've got a lot of.
Watch this. That shit right there. And by Petrino's system, I'm thinking running Wingo all over again. But go ahead.
But it's just sorry. No, this is against Colorado. So, I just think but looking at the size, a lot of these other guys I'm looking at 5'10", 170, 5'10", 190. I'm like, oh, they're kind of small, but then it's like I feel like they all complement each other in different ways. I'm still waiting to see Emmanuel Crawford have a breakout, to be honest, if he gets on the field. Because there's been a lot of talk around him since he was in high school. Here's the block.
Now watch this. This is it. Watch this.
Boom.
In your
Block.
mouth. In the mouth, dude. That's what I'm talking about. They always talk about running backs being able to block. Coach Petrino do not play that when it comes to running backs. If you can't block, you can't play.
Yep.
And that's going to be huge.
Ooh, Russell in high school.
Now, of course, the competition he's playing against, I don't know what team this is.
I don't know.
And I hate it if it's somebody's son that's watching.
Coming up is the spring game.
Yeah.
But, I mean, just his speed here, like getting through is,
Yeah. I don't know who that was diving in his legs, but it wasn't number 17. Y'all kiss my ass. y'all kiss my ass by number 17. That's my dog. You're my boy, Blue. Huddy. All right, Matt, what you got in regards to the running backs? What you see?
Well, if people recall, Jaquindon Jackson was a quarterback in high school.
Yep.
Texas first.
Yes, and he was a big-time quarterback. And I would say he's going to throw a pass this year, maybe more than one. I can just see something happening. That would be the type of trick play I see Petrino running. Something like that, a little toss, kind of like what are the plays? If you watch McFadden highlights and do a little toss to him, he fumbles or he drops it, picks it up, and throws it
in the wild hog.
Yeah. I see something like that happening, but I really look forward to him. He's a hoss, Jackson. And, of course, everybody wants to see Braylon Russell, see what that size does and how it converts to the SEC. I can see him losing a little bit of weight over the next years or kind of rebuilding a little bit. But 250, that's a load. Yeah. But, of course, DeBinion, I've been high on DeBinion since his freshman year. He always stuck out to me. He ran a little different than the other backs we've had, in my opinion. He was nicked up a little bit last year. So hopefully we can see what he's like fully healthy coming into the season. But Jackson is your main guy, and I think he's going to be a workload. But we will get our, short yardage. We'll probably see Russell a little bit more as the season goes along. But early on, who knows what you're going to get in the non-conference games other than outside of Oklahoma State.
All right.
As a rotation depth chart.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to give you my little salvo here with this. So first off, I think you're going to see more of a two-back set where you're going to see DeBinion and Jaquindon at the same time, but you're going to flex DeBinion out a lot more in the slot and utilize his speed. Also, that is a classic Bobby Petrino move. He did that a hell of a lot whenever he was here the last time. I think you're going to see that again this time. I think you're going to see a lot of Braylon Russell probably down around 245. And if they can get him down to 245 and keep him that way, I think he'll probably be more upright, and you'll probably see him inside the 30 more, where you also, again, with DeBinion and trying to flex him out a little bit, create some more misdirection as well with that, because whenever you have both DeBinion and Russell in the backfield, you do have a lot of speed, but you have more speed with Jaquindon and DeBinion. So I think that you'll see them outside the 30. That's kind of my take. But on Cade Fields, I'm gonna throw a little knowledge for y'all. So he came from Fayetteville High School, played for Casey Dick, went to Arkansas Tech in 22, didn't play, played a couple of games last year, and then transferred into Arkansas this year.
Gotcha. Appreciate the info on that. Looking at some of the guys, I definitely like your take. I mean, between having the two-back set, the thing that's interesting about Bob Petrino and the caliber player that he has on the roster, he's able to flex out guys and do different things. I wouldn't be surprised to see Gums at the tight end go double tight, put the big boy back in the backfield. Give me Russell and Jackson in the backfield at the same time with two tight ends and make something shake. And give me the 6'7" receiver, Broden. Give me on the outside for a jump ball for red zone information. I also like his ability, the Binion, to catch the ball. And even Jackson talked about it. Shout out to Trey Biddy. He talked about this a lot about Jackson and before spring game, talking about his ability to catch the ball. And that he basically plays with a chip on the shoulder. So Petrino is looking at this and say, look, I got some toys to play with. You mean to tell me I got a big physical back like Wingo, that reminds me of Wingo, that can catch the ball on the wheel route or in the flats and run the first person over, right? Russell don't know what his catching skills look like, but it's going to take more than one person to take him down.
They're good.
Especially if he's on the outside. Okay, that's what's up. So
they're good.
You got versatile backs, man. At the end of the day, Petrino's going to be able to do his thing, as you say, flex somebody out, put them in motion. Give me Isaiah Satania in motion, and give me the bean on the field at the same time, and just dump to somebody in the flats and let him get loose.
Within the first 5 plays of UAPB, I will promise you this will be a set formation on one side of the ball. We're going to have Andrew Armstrong, you're going to have Rashad Dubinion, and you're also going to have Luke Haas.
Yeah.
That right there, nice. that's gonna create some mismatches and some headaches for Oklahoma State in week 2, because they're gonna see that. They're gonna see how it operates, and what they see will not be what they see in week 2. And they know that for a fact, but just putting it out there for window dressing purposes alone is something that Bobby Petrino does great at. He wants he's not creating in-game confusion, which he tries. He does a good job with spacing and play calling. His confusion is caused if you play them in week 4, for instance. His confusion is week 1, 2, and 3, because he wants to keep you off balance whenever you see him.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. I think Bob Petrino is very intelligent in regards to running the offense. As you say, he'll give you window dressing. And week 2 in Oklahoma State, he may give you a look, call a timeout. You'll never say look again until you play Auburn. Like, that's what he does. Like, he'll give you just enough. He won't have it where it's vanilla like a spring game. He'll give you enough and run some damn plays on you and score on you. And then all of a sudden, it's a whole different set of plays, a whole different set of personnel on the field making plays come SEC time. So shout out to Bob Petrino on that and his ability to be creative with the guys he has. Anybody got anything on the running back room? I want to jump back into these comments, but I won't stop you guys. All right, bet. Jonathan says, great show, guys. Thank you, Jonathan. He said, what is y'all biggest concern going into the season? Matt?
Biggest concern? Well, I guess you would have to say it's going to be the offensive line compared to what they were last year, but I think they will be improved. So, I mean, I feel like that's the obvious one. I'll take a step out and just say wide receivers. We had some, but they didn't get a lot of separation last year. Let's see what they do this year and who gets on the field.
Gotcha. Adam, you had the little line. I bet you won't flash the little number on the screen. James Kirk says entering year 5 for Pittman and predict to finish near the bottom of the league. That's basically about the same spot that Morris left in. Please let's not bring up bad Chad Morris, the car salesman with his trash ass. Brad said you guys in the blocks remind me of the Brady Bunch. Teresa, you think you guys will lay down with Bobby as the coach? Wait a minute, let me read that right. You think you guys would, I'm gonna say beat that. Will we be okay with Bobby as the coach?
I don't like that question because I don't think it's going to happen. I think if you fire Sam, you get rid of the whole staff. That's just my take.
I think Bobby Petrino, like I said, is done being a head coach.
I think there's a way that if Pittman is fired, there could be 1 to 2 ways for Petrino to still remain on staff as a coordinator.
I like Petrino.
Like last show, I think, or 2 shows ago, wasn't it?
Yeah,
2 shows ago. Yeah, and I like his ability to play call. I don't like him to come into my nephew's living room and excite him about coming to the University of Arkansas. And I don't know if the boosters are willing to really drop the bag in regards to NIL. And that's what matters to me at this point. Get whoever you want to make the head coach if it doesn't work out, because let us be clear. Let's be clear. We want Sam Pittman to have a great season and for his players to have an impact on the league, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make some memories that we can have for years to come in regards to the teams that we play this year and the effort we put out on the field. And basically, the win column needs to be up. We want him to have that effect. So we don't want him to leave. I'm not ready to go that far, Teresa, in that regard. But whoever, after he decides to ride up into the sunset, whoever is going to drop that bag on in regards to NIL, that's who I'm with.
Well, like we
Will,
talked about
go ahead.
earlier today, and we've talked about before, with the recruiting, it's going to take money. And that's just a fact of it. It's been talked about, which something that Pittman said earlier in the week too was, that Arkansas is not, it's not that populated of a state. He said that there's only about 6 kids that they think could play in the SEC. Now, he didn't really look because I think that there's somewhere between 8 and 11 on the 2024 class that signed to SEC teams. But, it's one of those things that we've talked about, like keeping the in-state kids home.
Right.
But money controls everything these days. And especially when you're not winning, that's what you have to – I mean, honestly, you have to have money to fall back on, and we don't have it. We haven't had it.
Yeah.
You got to beat Texas's door down too, man. That's one of the
yeah.
huge lacking things with this team is that you've got to beat Texas's door down. You have to.
Here's another thing. So you have a limited supply of NIL money. Are you going to spend that money on freshmen, or are you going to spend that money on transfers who are more physically mature, more experienced?
Transfers.
Exactly.
Right.
You don't know what you're getting out of high school kids.
Exactly.
So,
and some of these schools are paying what some schools are paying for top transfers. Some schools are paying that much for freshmen. So
you're basically banking on, can I get somebody for a season or two and just keep it going and try to, in the meantime, get some high school kids that you can develop while these guys are there for that year or two.
Real quick, get them for 1 or 2 years and let them go about their business. If that don't remind you guys of Be Kind and Rewind, you're written players. You are written players, right? So we understand what that looks like. But I feel like in Sam Pittman's heart of hearts, he loves to develop young people. He loves to see the maturation of a young man coming straight out of high school and developing him to somebody who has potential to go to the next level. I think he essentially lost that with the 2020 season, which was not his fault. You came back with 9-4. Your recruiting class after the 9-4, you should have been top 15. Period. Top 10 even. Like that should have been your best recruiting year because that's the best statistics you put up in regards to numbers and win-loss column. But it didn't happen, and now he had to finally adapt a year late to the transfer portal and go ahead and adapt and said, if I don't adapt to this new method of college football, we're definitely going to be behind, and I'm going to end up losing my job sooner than I want to walk off. Renee said, let's go Hogs. Got to start off with some hope. Been saying we'll pick Suey since Southwestern Conference days, and I will keep on till I can't. Shout out to you, Renee. Renee, I think you're new to watching us, so shout out to you, and thank you for chiming in with the comment. Brad says, Russell has the size and speed. He could be dangerous. I'm excited to see what he can do. Rod, shout out to Rod. Rod says, Jackson ran on Duncanville's 4x1. He can flat out run too, dude. Anybody that's on Duncanville's track team, them dudes doing Olympic numbers.
You can go,
straight up. Which is what I'm hoping we can get a pipeline from Duncanville. Give me the 3-star. Give me the backup DB. I don't know. Get somebody from their school every year, North Shore,
basketball
somewhere. Anthony Black, and then we lost my guy that went to
Ron Holland.
Ron Holland. We lost Ron Holland. Don't talk about him? Okay. I would do want this comment that Rod threw in early. He said, Ollie Kid from OSU worries me.
He worries everybody.
He's a dog. He's
Top
a
rusher,
dog.
yeah. I mean,
he's a dog.
And that I think AJ Green is still hurt because let's not forget AJ Green is at Oklahoma State.
Right.
So he hurt his leg early in the offseason. Picture of him in the cast. I haven't looked up to see if he's progressed, if he's doing better, whatever. But you know that if he suits up for that game, he's going to be out for blood.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And at the end of the day, in regards to that conversation, I think T. Will already got in his mind, if my defense can shut down one of the top backs in the league and make them one dimensional in regards to passing, we doing work. We doing work, and you got to deal with this in the SEC. So you might as well do it against Oklahoma State, who we have known in the past not to start off well on their schedule. So we may be able to slide in and get those guys. Will said I'm nervous about the linebackers. I like the linebacker group. And speaking of linebackers, we're going to transition because we did tight ends and receivers last week. Next week we'll jump into the defensive side of the ball. So definitely stay tuned to that, Will, and we'll tap into more of that. Matt watching us from YouTube. He says, if you do end up firing Pittman, I'm hoping they make a splash hire like they did with basketball. Absolutely, something we spoke about in regards to NIL. Derek Compton says, doesn't matter who coaching if NIL is not there. We spoke on that. Miss Teresa, that wasn't what I was saying. Okay, as a player, don't think these kids will lay down due to the frustration per se after a loss of Oklahoma State. I'm with you. I'm on board with that one.
Would you
No, I'm
guys?
not. It changes your whole trajectory of your season, though, because you're going to be fighting to even become bowl eligible if you lose the Oklahoma State game. If you do win that game, you have a decent shot at least winning 6 games. I'm not.
Yeah.
That's just being kind of realistic, in my opinion. I don't think that's being a homer or anything. But that Oklahoma State game is so crucial. And then I'm just saying, if you start losing after that, because we got some tough games, we got the A&M game. We always lose in some, amazing fashion. We, Superman and dive, and they fumble and lateral, and the guys, going 100 yards, or we give up 2 touchdowns in the fourth quarter, or had a 2-touchdown lead in the fourth quarter. Just something always seems to happen in those games, and that stuff can start snowballing, especially when last year's team did that. And we had that issue with Chad Morris, and it's contagious, and it's like a cancer that will just start growing. That's why I'm saying that's why the Oklahoma State game is so big. If we can win that will change the whole momentum.
I'll debate with you live right now.
Whoops.
The fuck
Don't
is
ask.
going on? All right. I'll debate with you live on that and say, even if you lose that game and you mess around and you beat Auburn at Auburn, now we talking SEC play, right? You lose to Oklahoma, you take it out on UAB the next week, you go on the road and whip the shit out of Auburn convincingly. Now we're talking, right? So it's a lot that could go into that. I definitely understand what you're saying because, as you said, we've seen this before. We know how it ends. But the confidence in which Coach Pittman is speaking about this team, I think it may be different. I'm hoping it may be different. All right. We're going to wrap this thing up, guys. Do a little round robin. Jason, you our guest. Any final thoughts you want to give to us tonight?
Yeah, I want to touch on that Oklahoma State game for just a second. Even if Arkansas gives up 350 yards rushing to Ollie Gordon and they win, I think at that point you just have to take it out of your mind that it was just it's just a better running back than anybody you're probably going to see for the rest of the year. So I think that with Oklahoma State, it's like Matt said, it's imperative that you do win. And if you do lay an egg against Auburn, this is the year to get A&M. Next year's not going to be that game that you want to get them. This year is the game that you want to get them. Yeah. So it's imperative that they come out of August, September 5-2.
Gotcha.
Really, or 2-3 or 4-2 or however the hell that goes, because just because I know my math is not good right now. It's Sunday and I'm ready for work week next week, but that's kind of my thought is let the first couple of weeks play out and don't overreact and don't think that the ship is on fire, because there are a couple of spots that you can right that ship very quickly. Also, with going into LSU, you have a bye week. Going into Texas, you have a bye week as well. I understand that you're kind of short actually, you're not going to be short now, because at the end of the season, Missouri's on a Saturday now. It's not on a Friday. So there's a couple of spots where Sam and the crew can kind of right that ship a little bit, because let's face it, Sam Pittman's undefeated after a bye week. So with that being said, that could possibly lead into some pretty good things, but it might also lead us into some bad. But the that first month, though, you have to not just be ready to burn the ship. That's my final thought for the night.
Gotcha. Mr. Matthew, what you got for us, sir?
Yeah, I echo that. I mean, I know I was stressing about Oklahoma State, but there's chances Oklahoma State, like you said earlier, they'll drop a game early and next thing you know they win 10 games, and have a Doak Walker Award winner. So it can definitely, you can definitely right the ship, but I worry about the cancer starting back again, just coming back, creeping in and slowly after losses build up. I'm not saying it's going to immediately start after Oklahoma State, but I think we will beat Oklahoma State, to be honest with you, and I think we can make a bowl game this year.
All right. My final take for tonight. One thing that I didn't mention earlier that I'm going to mention now. We talked about Taylor Green, talked about his leadership. You had Landon Jackson speak on him. You had Andrew Armstrong speak on him, and of course, Coach Fibbin spoke on him. A name that popped up in SEC Media Day that I was not ready to hear. People asked about. So, how do you think? What do you think about the young quarterback, KJ Jackson? I was like, huh? Not Malachi Singleton, who was a second string quarterback.
No.
How is KJ Jackson doing? So that was interesting to me, intriguing to hear how he's doing and to hear about him. I also did not, they asked about another player that was interesting to me. But at the end of the day, I feel like Sam Pittman did a great job in regards to conveying his message. He was very open, transparent, and honest and clear about his intentions for the season. I know a lot of people are going to be hoping that Bob Petrino does everything he do. My money is on T. Will and the defense. I think the defense is going to be nice with the transfers that came in. And I think we're going to have an overall good team and some players who make SEC first or second team, depending on what the numbers look like in the win-loss column. Mr. Hart?
Yes.
Mr. Hall?
No, there you go. Anyway, it's one of those that I'm not trying to beat them down, but just when you get out on the field, prove me wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to sit here and say everything's great or everything's terrible because we really don't know. We just got out of the media days. I know right now you've got two sides of it. You got the people that are still holding a grudge, if you will, and then you have the other side of it that it's just like the same. It's the same way after every media day that everything feels great on the surface. But, it's one of those that time will tell. We still got, 39 days, a little less or a little more than a month. So, we'll see what happens between now and then.
Gotcha. Definitely want to shout this comment. S-Jack jumped in late. Thank you for watching us on YouTube. And as y'all know, we on YouTube. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button. While you watching, hit the subscribe button. Hit the like button. Thank you for the likes tonight. They've really been jumping. So thank you for that. S-Jack said T-Will has a defense to help the offense. This year, guys, I meant if we beat Oklahoma State, then look out. And then Teresa closing us out saying, go Chiefs. You just can't help it, King Teresa. You just cannot help it, Miss Teresa. Go Chiefs. Go Pittsburgh Steelers. And I guess whoever's on the top of this man's hat. Is that it? And
I forgot.
Whoa.
He's so petty, man.
Matt,
look.
You look like a stud with a tie, my guy.
Man, look. Hey, Matt, we got to make one of those and put Adam on it because he played too many games with our faces on here, right?
He does.
So check this, guys. Y'all know what it is. Tell a friend, tell a friend. Watch the replay. Tell a friend, and we are back again. Jason, thank you for being on with us tonight. We definitely appreciate all your takes on SEC Media Day. And once again, they can find you at.
So you guys can find all the podcasts on hogville.net, also on our hogville.net YouTube channel. Also, find all my written content on Pig Trail Nation on knwa.com. Also, quick little thing, I'll have a story out tomorrow. Kansas City Chiefs. I also help cover them too a little bit. Kansas City Chiefs, they were in their first day of training camp today. So I'll have something out tomorrow morning for that. And then the first weekend in August, I will be at Chiefs training camp covering that live as well.
That's what's up. So Teresa, go check him out about the Chiefs and Mahomes.
So it sounds like we'll have a big discussion after week one.
Oh yeah.
Baltimore and Kansas City opening things up.
That would be a really good one. Yeah, because they only do 3 games now in the preseason, so it's going to be a little interesting, kind of how that's going to lead up. Because Kansas City's got, if I'm not mistaken, they've got the Lions, they've got the Bears, and they've got somebody.
Tigers. Oh my.
Yeah, I know, right? But they have. I'm really intrigued about that Lions matchup. The first quarter, first half, somewhere right around there. I think that'd be good. Xavier Worthy, he was showing out today. He got 2 bombs from Mahomes for a touchdown. So I don't know. We'll see. 3 rings.
These dudes get Derrick Henry. Then they just file a grievance and say, y'all can't tackle below the hip. Cheap ass. Look, y'all got to play us twice a year, the Pittsburgh Steelers, baby.
We don't care.
Let me tell you,
look, hey, I'm sorry that y'all have Mr. Unlimited or whatever the hell he called himself last year.
Steelers Nation, let's ride.
Oh my gosh.
This man keep playing on buzz. We're going to get about once. Tell a friend to tell a friend. If you know that know us, then you know. Tell a friend to tell a friend that we are back with another episode. Watch us every week, every Sunday. Watch the replay. Like, subscribe, and share. We're on the YouTube. You watch this on Facebook and YouTube. You can catch it on Instagram. Subscribe. Also, remember, when we are Hog Talk podcast, we are looking for you have a business, large or small business, that you would like to get advertised on this show as you watch us to get around and get your business spread. In one of us in the DMs, and we will make sure to contact you, give you information you need so you can have valuable information to make a decision in regards to doing business with us. With that being said, we are out of here, and I know he got some music for us. Once again, you should, because that's your job.
He had that club music going on earlier.
Dude got the you on hold elevator music, man.